If I understand correctly, then y'all basically started this using the internet to leverage some cloud on some weekly recurring content shit, which allowed you to gain up a little bit of buzz. These are some knowledge nuggets, right? Because marketing didn't really change. People just think it was different in the past. Um,
Yeah,
so,
well, it was more local anyway, known. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't say it was more like an online kind of thing because it was like the people that were watching this shit were all from like the hood, all from our, like our same hood, right? Like all from Brantford. So
but it was still like
fucking,
a way to do it, right? Because regardless if it was
I guess yeah,
local
it
or
made it more
not,
accessible, right?
it allowed you to establish that original foothold because it was the recurring. You did it every time at the same time. People get used to it. Like those rules don't change for like today on how you build out content, right? You got to be regular with it. You got like you guys seem to be doing every 3 months for your
Oh yeah,
contest and shit like that. Like there's calendars, there's recurring natures and stuff.
yeah,
So that's really nifty to me. And then from
yeah. But
that,
then we started dropping shit in the studio, and we just started working on albums and shit after that. Like basically, like just kind of put all our work. Like if we're gonna do something, we might as well make a whole project, right?
which sounds like a great elevation
So
though.
that's the direction we took.
No, but that's cool. Like you
Yeah,
started your foundation, but on top of
sure.
that, you create chemistry because you're basically working with a bunch of people doing your the cipher thing. It's not just an isolated person, and then over time, you get to see who's serious. You get to see who's down, and then you start to build your core group,
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
then so that like explains a lot of how it all kind of came to be, how y'all are so tight knit and whatnot. But you really put in time, like establishing a foundation. Then you evolve that into working together, which is just incredible. Because collectives is kind of like the move, if you were to ask me. And there's not a lot of collectives, in my opinion. So seeing y'all operate as you do is like mad inspirational. Um,
No word. Yeah. Appreciate that, bro.
but like, so okay, so you start dropping albums. You're also doing shows. How are you like promoting your stuff at this time?
Yeah. Well, we the first show that happened, Icom did a show. I didn't perform. I didn't have any tracks out. Like I said, we were just starting shit, right?
Right.
Um, but it was Baloney, Lipinski, and Santoro. They did the show, DJ'd by our DJ Jay Beats, who was DJing for this guy Sky at this time. So Sky ended up after that show ended up becoming a member of Icon.
Okay.
So he's an older guy. So he had the promotional shit kind of on lock and he's been doing shows for a long time. So he had all the links on how to do the flyers and links on the clubs and shit. So it was basically when we had probably an album or so like Maloney probably had an album out. We probably had the Menace Lupus out or something. And then we really started doing shows when Sky came around and we had access to like bar owners and shit. He knew people and he was kind of our foot in the door to actually starting to do shows, and then it kind of just kept rolling from there. So we would do shit at like like the Alex in Brantford. There was one at I think Jackhammer's, a bunch at the Alex. Fuck, I don't even know the other bars' names, man, because you know what, it's Brantford and the bar will be closed the next year and it'll be a different name. So I don't even know what to call these bars anymore. Every time I drive through Brantford, it's a different name. So, but yeah, we did a bunch of shit. Yeah, mainly in Brantford. I remember my first show though was in Niagara Falls at a place called the Bank.
Mm.
But yeah, so it started off with Sky getting our foot in the door with the shows.
So you start performing, and I guess at that point, like you guys are just like, are you or like I don't know. At that point, are you like a collective, or is it like you're in that group? Like I don't know. Is it just like a group? Are you more like how does it like I don't know. It's just so interesting to see how you work. Like I don't want you to go and like tell us everything that you don't want to say, but it's just a
Yeah,
lot of people really just have since so far back stuck around for so long, and even the story is cool. Just like you went to Niagara Falls and
yeah,
performed. That's lit. Like I've never even been to Niagara Falls. Well, I went once, but like like that shit's dope.
yeah. No, that was a dope show too. But yeah, yeah, we were a group. It was ICOM started doing shows as like a collective at the start. Um, so that was J Beat, Sky. Santoro, Lipinski, Maloney, and I know I'm forgetting some motherfucker. And then Juice, the Eye Accomplice, which is Obi now. But yeah, they were doing group shows at the start, and then after, me and Maloney ended up having an album, and people kind of branched off after that, and me and him started doing shows because we had the Menace Lupus album out, and like that's kind of where it snowballed from there with me starting to do shows. But like I didn't do shows with ICOM as like a group. Collectively, I wasn't in ICOM until like a little later. You know what I mean? When they were starting to do that, I was like just around for like maybe a year or something like that.